The Atlantic Ocean is way too large on this map. Iceland appears twice, and in two different colors. This apparently takes place in a post-apocalyptic future where almost the entirety of Antarctica has melted. It seems they moved Oceania further southwest so they could fit it all on the map, but they still cut out half of New Zealand, so it just seems completely pointless. Thailand is apparently a sea. Who knew?
Haiti.
Haiti is the same color as neighboring Dominican Republic.
Caribbean.
That's a sea, not a country.
Caribbean.
The Caribbean is not a nation. It's a region that approximately comprises the nations within the Caribbean Sea, as well as a few within the North Atlantic. The list's too long to mention here.
Greenland.
That's part of the Kingdom of Denmark, not a nation in its own right.
Greenland is not a nation in its own right. It's been a constituent country of the Kingdom of Denmark since 1814, when it was handed over to Denmark by Norway, and became fully integrated into Denmark in 1953.
Puerto Rico.
That's a territory of the United States.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico has been an unincorporated territory of the United States since the end of the Spanish-American War in 1898, and since 1917 all Puerto Rican citizens have had United States citizenship. There has been a referendum to make Puerto Rico a state of America, but as of yet it hasn't been successful.
Guyana.
Belize is the same color as neighboring Mexico.
Bermuda.
That's a territory of the United Kingdom.
Bermuda.
Bermuda was settled by the English in 1607 and became a crown colony, now referred to as British Overseas Territories, in 1684. An independence referendum was held in 1995, but 74% of Bermudians voted against independence.
Bahamas.
The name of this nation is technically the Bahamas. It's actually one of only two nations that requires the indefinite article in its name.
Tobago.
The country's actual name is Trinidad and Tobago, and I understand that they needed to shorten it, but Trinidad is larger than Tobago in both size and population.
Tobago.
Tobago is one of the islands making up the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. It is also the smaller of the two in both size and population, with a population of about 60,000 to Trinidad's approximate 1.2 million, and an area of about 116 square miles to Trinidad's 689.
San Juan.
That's a city.
San Juan.
San Juan is the capital city of Puerto Rico.
French Guiana.
That's a department of France. It isn't even a territory. Saying it's a nation is like saying that Pyrenees-Orientales is a nation.
And then French Guiana.
French Guiana is a département d'outre-mer, or overseas department of France, and thus is considered to be wholly part of France, hence the name French Guiana, and it's been one since 1940.
Guam. And Guam.
Guam is also an unincorporated territory of the United States, handed over at around the same time as Puerto Rico.
Apparently, New Guinea and Hawaii don't exist.
And then Germany now one piece.
When this song first aired on September 14th, 1993, Germany had been in one piece, and yes, that is what Yakko said I checked, for nearly 3 whole years, having reunified on October the 3rd, 1990.
Switzerland.
Switzerland is the same color as neighboring Yugoslavia. Also, Switzerland didn't actually border Yugoslavia.
Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakia had broken up even by the date of the song's release.
Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakia divided into the Czech Republic, also known since 2016 as Czechia, and Slovakia on the 1st of January 1993. This song first aired about 9 months later.
Scotland.
Scotland is a constituent country of the UK, not a country in its own right. You could argue that constituent countries count, but in that case, where's Wales?
Scotland.
Scotland is not a nation in its own right. It's a constituent country of the United Kingdom alongside Wales, England and Northern Ireland, having been so since the passage of the Acts of Union in 1707. A referendum for Scottish independence failed in 2014.
Albania.
Albania is the same color as neighboring Yugoslavia.
Russia.
The Soviet Union had completely dissolved at the time of this song's release.
Russia.
What Yakko appears to be doing here is using the word Russia to refer to the Soviet Union, which dissolved on Boxing Day 1990, and many of whose former members now make up the Commonwealth of Independent States.
Oman.
Oman is actually much larger than that.
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria is the same color as neighboring Romania. Which is weird considering that before it was the same color as neighboring Greece.
Hungary.
Hungary is the same color as neighboring Czechoslovakia.
Syria.
It's the same color as neighboring Syria and Kuwait. Let's just add 15 extra sins for all the times bordering countries of the same color.
Jordan.
Jordan apparently owns the Sinai Peninsula.
Both Yemen.
There was only one Yemen at the time of this song's release.
Both Yemen.
Yemen reunified on the 22nd of May 1990, 3 years before this song came out and a good 4 months before Germany did. Worth mentioning as well, when Yemen reunified, the modern Republic of Yemen was not considered to be a successor to either of the previous Yemens, those being the Yemen Arab Republic and the People's Democratic Republic of Yemen. Therefore, technically speaking, this also makes this an omission, since Yakko mentioned both Yemens, i.e. the previous Yemens, but not the present state currently known as Yemen.
The entire island of Great Britain lit up when he said England, including the previously mentioned Scotland. As someone who is part Scottish, I am obligated to add 10 cents.
As before stated, England is not a nation in its own right, but a constituent country of the United Kingdom as per the Acts of Union. Also, judging by what's lighting up on the map here, Yakko appears to be committing the classic faux pas of referring to the entirety of Great Britain as just England. This is incorrect, as the island of Great Britain also has Scotland and Wales on it.
Apparently, Sub-Saharan Africa decided to combine into one country while no one was looking.
Burma.
Isn't called that anymore.
Burma.
I'm going to retract a statement from the previous version of this video and say that this isn't an inaccuracy. While it's technically been named Myanmar since 1989, many countries still refer to it as Burma officially, but the main reason I'm retracting this one is because its president, Aung San Suu Kyi, stated in 2016 that diplomats are free to use either name, because there isn't anything in its constitution that dictates what it should be called.
Nepal and Bhutan.
Not only are they the same color as India, but there also is no border shown between the three countries. But there is a border separating China from northwestern China, because of course there is.
Kampuchea.
It's now called Cambodia.
Kampuchea.
Kampuchea is the name given to Cambodia between 1975 and 1989. The name was changed in 1975 by the Khmer Rouge regime following the Cambodian Civil War and was changed back to Cambodia in May of 1989 to avoid association with that regime.
And Bangladesh.
There's no border between Bangladesh and India.
Asia.
Asia is a continent upon which several nations reside.
Korea.
There are two Koreas. Even the map shows this. But he still just said Korea.
Korea.
Korea has been divided between the Republic of Korea, or South Korea, and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, or North Korea, since the end of the Second World War. Neither state recognizes the other, and both claim the entire Korean peninsula, but at the UN level they are considered separate nations, both of which light up on the map, so Yakko is erroneously referring to both of them jointly as just Korea.
Tibet.
Is a part of China.
Tibet.
The People's Republic of China gained control of Tibet in 1951 and operates it as an autonomous region. However, there is a long-standing movement for Tibet's independence.
The Philippine Islands.
The Philippine Islands is a correct way of referring to the islands themselves, but it's not the name of the nation, which is simply called the Republic of the Philippines.
Taiwan.
Is only officially recognized by 20 UN member states.
Taiwan.
The Republic of China, commonly known as Taiwan, has not been an official nation since the Second World War. It and the People's Republic of China both claim to be the sole legitimate government of China, though the PRC is the one that is widely considered to be so. While the Republic of China has de facto independence, its own currency and government, it has very limited recognition. It is not a member of the United Nations, and relations with other countries are on a strictly informal basis.
New Guinea.
Is officially called Papua New Guinea. New Guinea is an island.
New Guinea.
The nation Yakko is pointing to here is called Papua New Guinea. New Guinea is the name of the island on which it resides. Furthermore, as you can see from the map, Papua New Guinea only takes up half of the island of New Guinea, the other half being part of Indonesia.
Sumatra.
Is an island.
Sumatra.
Sumatra is also part of Indonesia and has been since 1950.
And Borneo.
Is also an island.
And Borneo.
Borneo is the largest island in Asia but is not a nation in itself. In fact, it plays host to 3 nations, with the majority of the island being part of Indonesia and Malaysia controlling most of the northern area of the island, save for a small part which makes up the nation of Brunei.
Swaziland.
Swaziland is now known as Eswatini as of April 2018.
Gambia.
It's the Gambia.
Gambia.
This is the other nation that requires the indefinite article. The Gambia was named as such when it was first discovered by the Portuguese because it follows the River Gambia, and it was confirmed that the indefinite article would remain when the country gained independence in 1965 to avoid confusion with Zambia, which had also become independent around the same time.
Lesotho and
It's pronounced Lesotho. South Africa has a pointless line going through it,
the Spanish Sahara is gone.
and had been for over a decade at the time of this song's release.
The Spanish Sahara is gone.
The Spanish Sahara ceased to exist in 1975, nearly 18 years before this song came out, thus making it non-topical. The territory is now known as Western Sahara, and is disputed territory between the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic and Morocco, the latter of whom annexed most of the territory. No other country has officially recognized Morocco's sovereignty over the annexed territories, and the UN considers the Polisario Front of the Sahrawi Republic to be the legitimate representation of the Sahrawi people.
Algiers.
Is a city.
Algier.
Algiers is the capital city of Algeria.
Dahomey.
Is the old name for Benin.
Dahomey.
Dahomey is the name of a former kingdom which was located in the southern part of modern-day Benin between 1600 and 1904. The entire country now known as Benin became French Dahomey in 1904, then gained independence as the Republic of Dahomey in 1958 before becoming Benin in 1975.
Zaire.
Zaire became the Democratic Republic of the Congo in 1997.
Mayor.
Like French Guiana is a department of France.
Mayor.
Mayotte, more commonly known as Mayotte, was at the time of broadcast a French overseas collective. It is now, as of 2009, an overseas department of France like French Guiana.
Cayman. Cayman.
Technically it's the Cayman Islands, and they're also not a nation. In 1670, England took formal control of the islands and they were governed as part of Jamaica. When Jamaica gained independence, the Cayman Islands became a separate crown colony, and now they're a British overseas territory.
Hong Kong. Hong Kong.
At the time of the song's release, Hong Kong was a British dependent territory, having been under their control since the mid-19th century. Hong Kong was later handed back over to China in 1997, and since then it has been a special administrative region of China.
Abu Dhabi.
That's a city.
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi is one of the 7 United Arab Emirates, and it has been since the formation of the UAE in 1971. To Yakko's credit though, Abu Dhabi is the largest of the Emirates, and it's also the seat of its capital, also called Abu Dhabi.
Yugoslavia.
Had for the most part broken up by the time this song was released.
Yugoslavia.
At the time of this song airing, Yugoslavia, as Yakko refers to it here, had dissolved, but Serbia and Montenegro had formed a union as the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, which in 2003 changed its name to the Union of Serbia and Montenegro. Montenegro then gained independence, with Serbia succeeding the union.
It's an island.
Crete is an island belonging to Greece, having been so since 1913.
Then Transylvania.
Is a region of Romania.
Transylvania.
Transylvania has been a region of Romania since 1980.
Monaco, Liechtenstein, Malta.
They wait to do the European microstates until we're so zoomed out that you can't even see them. Probably because they didn't actually even bother to draw them.
And Palestine.
We're not a UN observer state at the time of this song's release.
And Palestine.
Whilst this was an error at the time of the song's release, it has quite bizarrely become retroactively accurate. At the time of the song's release, Palestine was not recognised as a state, but it is now recognised by 139 UN member states, and in 2012 it became a non-member observer state of the UN.
Is barely on screen.
Sudan.
This is not an inaccuracy, because Sudan did not divide. South Sudan gained independence from Sudan in 2011. And now for the additional verse, courtesy of Rob Paulson and the Fine Brothers.
And it goes like this.
Montenegro and Bosnia-Herzegovina.
I'm letting this one slide by a hair's breadth. Technically, Bosnia and Herzegovina is one nation, but since he's put them next to each other, I'm selectively interpreting it as if he simply omitted the and intends to count them as one unit.
The Soviet Union is gone.
This video was uploaded at the beginning of October 2018, and the Soviet Union dissolved 28 years prior to that, so this is non-topical.
South Africa, Georgia, Moldova.
Is another word for Moldavia, a historical region that joined with Wallachia to form Romania. It is also apparently another word for Moldova, though I have found very little mention of it as such outside of dictionaries.
Latvia, Belarus, Azerbaijan. Uzbekistan, hey. Kazakhstan, hey. Then there's Tajikistan too. Hey. Turkmenistan, hey. Kurdistan.
Is a historical region in a location now taken up by bits of Turkey, Iran, Iraq and Syria. There is also an autonomous region of Iraq called Kurdistan, but as I just said, it's an autonomous region of Iraq, not a nation by this video's definition.
Armenia, Tonga, Palau, Lithuania, Serbia, Kosovo.
Despite having declared its independence in 2008, Kosovo has only been recognised by just over half the member states of the United Nations, some of whom have also revoked their recognition. Most notably, it is not recognised by Serbia, from whom Kosovo claims to have gained independence.
US Samoa.
Is an incorrect name for American Samoa, which is a territory of the United States, hence the name.
The Balkans.
Is a region comprising a variable number of southeastern European nations depending on one's definition of it.
Brunei, Macau,
Is a special administrative region of China.
and Crimea.
Is a peninsula, and while the country that it's part of differs depending on your allegiances, one thing it is not is a nation in its own right.
Then Eritrea. Ukraine and Estonia. Here's Macedonia, New Caledonia.
Is a special collectivity of France.
Eastern Slavonia.
Is part of a historical region of Croatia.
Ivory Coast and Cape Verde, Andorra, the Solomon Islands, Dubai.
Is one of the United Arab Emirates. And finally, here's all the nations that weren't mentioned.
Add one sin for every UN member state in 1993 that wasn't mentioned.